Chapter 6 Good Time Wally. When the Doom book was shown to Adolf Zukor, the head of Paramount Pictures had cause for alarm. Leading the blacklist was the name of his top box office draw, Wallace Reed. Zukor, whose studio had already sustained a staggering loss when public outcry forced withdrawal of all Arbuckle and Mary Miles Minter pictures, bitterly protested the proposed banning of his popular star. "You should know that you are asking the impossible. Why, it would mean a $2 million loss to us to do a thing like this in the case of this one man. A thing like this would simply be suicide." The other studio chiefs behind the blacklist knew there were ways to force the hand even of the powerful Zukor and leaked the inside dope on Reed to the ever-avid tabloids. The graphic C led off with the banner headline, "Hollywood Hopheads," insinuating that among prominent film colony drug addicts was a certain very popular male star at Paramount. These rumors were suddenly confirmed in a startling manner when Wally Reed, the king of Paramount, was spirited away to a secluded private sanitarium in March of 1922. The commitment papers had been signed by Florence, Reed's unhappy wife, a featured player at Universal under the name of Dorothy Davenport. Papa Lamel, among others, had counseled Florence that Wally's cure was a pressing matter. She heartily agreed, and even Zukor reluctantly concurred it was better that Wally be kept out of sight. Paramount issued some euphemisms about Reed's overwork, but soon Mrs. Wallace Reed herself informed the press that her husband was undergoing a cure for morphine addiction. The sensational news that Wally Reed was a drug addict stunned the American public. Wally was not just a popular movie star, he was the vital exponent of young American manhood. Blue-eyed, chestnut-haired Wally was a cheerful, strapping 6'3" giant, possessed of great charm and acting ability as well as youth and good looks. Now his nickname Good Time Wally took on another meaning. In his new role as Hollywood image doctor, Will Hayes tried to cushion the shock by announcing that the unfortunate Mr. Reed should be dealt with as a diseased person, not be censured, shunned. Wally Reed was indeed dealt with as a diseased person, and one best kept out of sight. He spent the remainder of 1922 within a padded cell of that private sanitarium. The abrupt withdrawal of his daily morphine fix and the shock of abrupt confinement unhinged his mind. Wally became obsessed with the idea that he had been railroaded. He was right. Paramount had pushed him through a non-stop production schedule of Wallace Reed racing features. The Roaring Road, What's Your Hurry, Double Speed, that had little to recommend them but the personality of the star behind the wheel. The grueling pace began to tell, and in 1920, while he was working on Forever, at the prompting from a quiet, gentlemanly actor from the Senate lot, Wally took his first morphine fix to mask his exhaustion and bolster his energy. By the time the film was in the can, Wally was hooked. Toward the end, working on Clarence, they actually propped Wally before the camera in order to finish the picture. Wally died in his padded cell on January 18, 1923, age 30. A rumor swept the movie colony that he had been put to sleep. At the time of Wally's death, his wife, Florence, hastened to call a press conference. She announced her intention to avenge her husband's death. She had turned over to the police the names of Wally's friends who had, according to her, drawn him into a life of drink, dope, and debauchery. They called themselves the Hollywood Hellraisers, but she preferred to qualify them as bohemians. Gradually, he got to drinking with his bohemian friends, and soon this wasn't a home, it was a roadhouse. Wally's friends would come in here by the scores, at any odd hour of the day or night. They came in, they stayed, they drank. It was one wild party after another, each one worse than the last. Nobody could do anything with Wally. And then morphine. Florence also took the opportunity to announce that her next picture would be Human Wreckage, an expose of dope traffic. She was doing this film to warn the nation's youth, as well as in memory of Wally. She did not mention that she had covert assistance from Will Hayes for this antiseptic film. She concluded her interview with a final comment on her dead husband. Wally was cured but terribly debilitated physically. Only a return to the drug under control could have saved him. He refused. On her subsequent cross-country lecture tour to warn of the dangers of drug addiction and launch Human Wreckage, her opportunistic billing was always Mrs. Wallace Reed. Mary Pickford provided Wally with a professional epitaph. "His death is a very great tragedy. I know he would have lived down every mistake he made."